Hi guys, welcome back to our online lessons. We are doing 11 through 15 today, and we're actually going to do these a little bit out of order because I wanted to go over some of the notes and things first before we got to the 2/4 time signature. So our first one we're going to go over is eighth notes. That is lesson 12. So if you want to open up to lesson 12 in your worksheet, that's where we're going to start today. Now, lesson 12 is, like I said, eighth notes. Originally, you have a quarter note. Quarter note is one beat. If we want to make a quarter note, two notes are to go instead of one, it's one and. If we wanted to make it two notes, what we have to do is make it an eighth note. An eighth note is a quarter note with a little flag on it, just like so. And when it has multiple in a row, it gets this little line on it, and you would play them like one and two and. So usually it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but these are twice as fast as a quarter note. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going 1 and 2 and. I want you to do that with me. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the eighth note is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, just like that. See, it's twice as fast. And so what you're going to do when you're looking at these, instead of counting 1, 2, 3, you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes this a little more challenging, but I'm sure you can do it. So, these notes, eighth notes. The first thing you're gonna do, that we're gonna do together, is we're gonna clap again. Now, we are back in 4/4. We have gone to 3/4 last week, but now we are back in 4/4 to practice eighth notes. So what I want you to do, get your eighth note sheet out if you haven't yet, and we are going to look at this 4/4 together, and we're going to clap the rhythm. Now, I'm going to do it the first time for you so you can hear it, because it is very different than what you've been used to, which is going 1, 2, 3, 4. And the same thing applies. When there is nothing above it, above the number, you don't clap. When there is something above the number, that is when you clap. So what it's going to sound like, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's how it sounds. Let's go through it together. We're gonna do it slow, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. If you need to pause it to practice it, you totally can. All right, let's try it. You guys ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good job. All right, now let's do this one just a little bit faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great job. Let's do it one more time. Just a little bit faster. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great job. Now, we're going to look at our sheets. The same thing, we're going to write the beats below as the notes indicated, and then you're going to clap the rhythm. Now, remember, when you see this, this is 1 and 2 and 3. And look at what time signature we're in. We're in 3-4. We're not in 4-4. We're in 3-4 for this one specifically. For number 2, you are in 3-4. So make sure you're only counting to 3. And then you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and. So the same thing is true. Number 3, you're in 3-4 again. And you're gonna do the same thing. And then in 4, you are writing the count, and then you're also putting in the bar lines like we done last week. So you're gonna count to 4 because this is in 4-4. You're gonna count to 4, but remember, this is gonna be 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you have these, there's gonna be an and. If you don't have them, it's just like normal. So this is 1, 2, and this is 3 and. But then it goes back to normal doing 4. Then it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just like that. So if it has the little hat on, you're counting the ands. If it's got the flag of the 8th note, you're counting the ands. If it does not have that, if it's just a quarter note or a half note or a whole note, you do not count the ands. And that is it for 12. That is just learning what an 8th note is, how it acts, things like that. We will go over it again in person if you need it, but that is what that looks like. The next thing I want us to go over is very similar to the 8th note. We're going over the 8th rest. The same thing applies for the 8th note as it does for the 8th rest. The 8th rest is a little 7 with a dot on it. You're gonna draw that for me. And the same counting happens. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so with number 1, we are in 4-4 again. We're going to clap the rhythm together. Now what we're going to do, again, same way we've done it before. I'm gonna do it first, and then you guys are gonna do it with me. We're gonna do it slow at first, and then a little faster, and then a little faster. So I need you guys to listen because this is probably one of the hardest ones yet. So let's do this together. I'm gonna do it first for the first time. You just listen, okay? So this is, now when you do rests, you do not clap. Even if there's something above, I know up until this point, it's if there's something above, you clap. If it's a rest, you do not clap. You just pretend like you're going to, but you do not, just so you can stay on beat. So what that looks like is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's what it looks like. Again, it's a little different because there's 8th notes, 8th rest in there, so it doesn't sound as 1, 2, 3, 4. But it is still that rhythm of 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just adding things to it to make it a little more interesting. So let's try it slowly. All of us together. Remember, we're not going to clap on rest. We pretend like we're going to stay on beat. And when there is nothing there, we do not clap at all. Okay, so let's try it. Let's do it a little slowly at first, and then we'll continue on. So it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Not bad, not bad. So we're gonna try this one just a little bit faster. And if you need to slow it down or if you need to take your time and do it again, go ahead and you can rewind it and do it again. But then we are going to move forward and we're going to do all of it. So let's do it a little bit faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I was pretty fast. Good job. We're not going to do that one any faster because it is really difficult. So if you need to do that one again, go ahead and slow it down and do it again. If you need to take it a little slower, you can do the one where I did it originally, or you can do the first one where we did slow together if you need to rewind. So we can do that. But then once you're done with that, we're going to get our sheets back out and look at the 4-4 time. And we're going to write the counts below. So that is 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Remember, if it's got an and, if it's got the 8th note or the 8th rest, you count the ands. If it's anything else, you do not count the ands. And the same is true, kind of what we've done before with all the counting and rests and things like that. You do the same thing over and over. This one, you write the count and you clap the rhythm. This one, you write in the count and you add the missing bar lines like we've done before. And then you're gonna draw the missing flags or stems on this last one. This one might be difficult. If you cannot figure it out, that is okay. When we are in person, we can work on it. But if you think it needs a flag, if you think it's an 8th note, not a quarter note, go ahead and put them together, like connecting the lines together or adding a flag. That's all you're doing for that one. And that is 8th rest. Kind of like 8th notes, just a little bit different. Now that we have those things under our belt, we have 8th notes and 8th rests, we can do something called the 2/4 time signature. Now the 2/4 time signature is a little bit different than the 3/4 and the 4/4. It means that instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you are counting either 1, 2, or 1 and 2 and. And we see 8th notes again making an appearance, and this is 2 8th notes. 2 8th notes equals 1 quarter note. So it's 1 and, or it's 1. So you're going to draw those. You're going to draw the 8th note, and you're going to have the 2 8th notes together. And then we're going to, again, count some beats out loud in 2/4. I'm going to do it for you the first time, and then the second time and third time, we're going to do it together. So the first time, I'm going to do it by myself, and it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2 and. Now, let's try that together. 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2 and. Great job. Now what we're going to do, we're going to do that one just a little bit faster. Now remember, with the 8th notes, it is 1 and or 2 and. With the whole, we don't have whole notes in this one. The most we have is a half note because it is 2. The count is 2. We can't have something that is 4 counts in a 2/4. So let's try it one more time a little bit faster. You ready? 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2 and. Great job. Now, on this sheet, I'm going to write the beats below on this next one. And then you're going to count them. And then you're going to clap them like you have done with this one. And the next one, you're going to write 2/4. And then you're going to write the beats. And then you're going to tap the rhythm or you're going to clap the rhythm again. On the last one, you're going to write 2/4. And then you're going to draw the missing bar lines. Remember, after and, 1 and 2 and, bar line. 1 and 2 and, bar line. That's how that goes the whole way through. So let's see. So this is 1 and 2 and, bar line. 1, 2, bar line, and then all the way through. That's how you're going to do that one. That is 2/4 time signature. Again, we will go over all of this in person as a review. So the last week's lesson and this week's lessons will be a review when I am in person with you guys. But until then, see what you can do with these and then do that. So we have 2 more lessons to go through. We have the dotted quarter notes, which is lesson 14, and then slurs and ties, which is 15. Now, dotted quarter notes. These ones get a little challenging. We may not be able to do this one just yet because it is a little challenging, but I want you guys to try it. This may have to be an in-person lesson, but I want you guys to at least see what it looks like because it is a little more challenging. A dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. So a quarter note is 1. If you add this little dot, see that little dot right there? That makes it a quarter note and an eighth note together. So when you count it, it is 1 and 2. And then the eighth note is and that makes 1 and 2 and. So that makes in your 2-4, that would be a 2-4. But the only thing you need to know about dotted quarter notes right now is that the dotted quarter note adds 1/2 to a quarter note. So it basically adds an eighth note to a quarter note to make it 1 and 2 instead of 1 and. Again, I know that it might be a little difficult with rhythm, but that's what it looks like. We are actually going to, if you think you can do any part of this lesson, it's the same that we've done before. Go ahead and do it. If not, we will save this one for when we are in person. But if you think you can do this one, go ahead and do the counting. Go ahead and do the counting on number 2 and 3. On number 4, you're trying to find the dotted quarter note. And on 5, you're finding the bar line. So if you think you can do that, go ahead and go for it. If you can't, that's okay. You can do it in pencil and try, and then I will come help you when I am in person next time. Now, the last lesson I wanted to do is called slurs and ties. Slurs and ties are pretty simple, and I just wanted to go over these with you so you could see what the counts are like. So a slur is a curved line that connects 2 or more notes of different pitches. See how they are not the same pitch and they are connected. See, they're not the same note and they are connected. And that means on a piano that you play them as closely together as possible and you don't have any breaks in between them. And in singing, it would be the same thing. You'd like be doing it all in one breath and not letting go. And then a tie is a curved line that connects 2 notes of the same pitch. So that means that instead of playing it on the piano as 2 quarter notes, you would just hold it for 1. And you would just hold it for 2 beats because it's 2 quarter notes, but you wouldn't play it each time. That's what a tie does. It ties them all together so you're not hitting down on the piano as often. And so what I want you guys to do is count out these beats together to figure out how many beats the ties are. So like this one, as an example, the one that looks like a smiley face, it is 2 whole notes put together by a tie. So you would add 4 plus 4 because it is a whole note plus a whole note. So it would be 8 beats in total. So that's what that number 1 is doing. And then that is the same thing that this one does as well. And so on number 3, you're going to draw circles around the ties and squares around the slurs. So you're going to find which ones are which. And again, you have a cheat sheet right up here so you can figure out which one is which. And then on the bottom one, you're going to draw circles around the ties and squares around the slurs. Again, this one is in treble clef, this one is in bass clef. That's what that looks like. Now, that is all for slurs and ties, and that is all for lessons 11 through 15. The song you're going to work on this week is Nothing But the Blood of Jesus. It is already recorded. You have it in your folders. It should be in the back with all the other music that we have. So you're going to work on those on Amazing Grace. Keep working on that one and Nothing But the Blood. And then next week when I am in person, we will do another song from your list and we will go over all of the lessons that we have done online. So 6 through 15 we will look at together just to go over them to make sure you understand them, and then we will practice on the piano, and then we might move on, but we might just do a review for that one for the online lessons. So that is something to look forward to. Keep practicing. You are doing an awesome job. Practice Nothing But the Blood and Amazing Grace this week, and I will see you next week.